Good morning. I am Jose Manuel A. Aragon from C Passion 106, and I would like to welcome everyone to my TED Talk. Our topic for today is energy. Now, you may ask me, what is energy? Well, according to Google, energy is the strength and vitality required for sustained physical or mental activity, or it can also be defined as power derived from the utilization of physical and chemical resources, especially to provide light and heat to work machines. Moving on, next slide. What energy source is most commonly used in the Philippines? Well, according to research created by Bruna Alves, the energy source that is most utilized in the Philippines is coal. Alright, remember that fact that the most utilized energy source in the Philippines is coal because it will be important later on. Now, how is coal harvested? Why is it important? And how do we use it? First of all, coal is a fossil fuel. Alright? Fossil fuels are organic matter that have been covered by layers and layers of sediment under the earth and left there to be exposed to extreme heat and pressure wherein it turns into coal and other fossil fuels. Now, due to them being underground or mostly in under a lot of layers of sediment, we get it by mining. Now, coal mining is very bad for our environment. Alright? This is for a lot of reasons, but as you can see here, the first reason is that we disturb the local animals and plants by removing their habitats and their shelters. We do this by digging up the land, creating tunnels, killing the local plants, and driving away the wildlife. As you can see in this picture below, it is totally barren. There are no plants, there are no trees, there are no animals. It's just dirt in the inside this pit because of us excavating it to make routes and tunnels to mine coal. The second effect is water pollution. Now, obviously, due to us moving a lot of sediment around, we will then release a lot of unwanted minerals and other debris into the water. This is very harmful because it can raise the pH and acidity of the water, therefore removing the balance in the water that keeps aquatic life alive. It's very harmful because aquatic life specifically is very sensitive to even the slightest change in the water. Next up is when we use coal. When we use coal, we emit a lot of greenhouse gases. These are gases that can cut down and make the layer of our atmosphere thin, making us more susceptible to UV light and radiation. Now, on to the next slide. How can we fix these negative effects that I mentioned in the last slide? Well, on this first one, the main one to fix the problem that I said before, which was the soil erosion and the destruction of the habitats, is planting trees. Planting trees can help hold together the earth that has been disrupted by excavation, therefore creating a more stable landscape and preventing soil erosion and landslides. This is because as a tree is planted, it spreads its roots down into the earth and holds together to compact the dirt and make it more stable. Next up As for the picture that I said beforehand, wherein there are no life in the quarries where we mine the coal, we can fix this by reintroducing viable resources to propagate life. This can be done by getting healthy dirt from a different place and putting it into the barren lands, and planting several plants such as grass or small trees in order to reintroduce life into the area and hopefully attract creatures to live there and rebalance the ecosystem that is present in that area. Lastly is we can fix the water pollution by water treatment. There can be many ways to treat the water, but this can be mainly done by introducing some minerals that can cancel out the acidity in the water, such as iron or calcium or many other resources and minerals that can be used sustainably and is not harmful to the living things living in the water. Next up, how can we change for the betterment of the future generations? Well, we can change for the betterment of the future generations by stopping the usage of coal and other fossil fuels. Alright? Now, there are many ways, alternative ways that we can do, but the two that I suggest are the hydroelectric energy and the windmills. Now, starting with the hydroelectric plants. Its downsides are that it is very hard to build because it takes up a lot of resources and is very situational. But we need to look at this as a long-term investment. We need to look at this as a long-term investment wherein it may cost us a lot now, but it will have a lot more benefits for us in the future. This is because if we do not put in the money, the time, and the effort to building these hydroelectric plants, we will not have a clean and healthy environment to live in very longer. Now, despite this downside, hydroelectric plants by far are the most cost-efficient way of producing energy, because all you need is a lot of resources and money to build a dam, a hydroelectric plant, and a viable source of water. Moving on to the windmills. Windmills have also has downsides, which are that just like the hydroelectric plant, it is a little costly to make them. It is a lot cheaper than hydroelectric plants, but it is still more expensive than just using fossil fuels. Another downside is that it's not exactly as reliable and stable as the hydroelectric plant. This is because it does not produce as much energy per cost put into it as the hydroelectric plant, and it is not always being an active source of energy. It is more of a passive source of energy that can be used alongside the hydroelectric plant. This is why I think these are the two best options or alternatives to the usage of fossil fuels in our society today. So, as for the recap, the first bullet is coal mining and consumption is harmful to our environment, which is why we need to stop using fossil fuels such as coal. This is because eventually our environment would be past the point of no return, where we cannot fix it and we cannot create alternatives, and we just have to watch our world fall into chaos because of the past actions that we had. The second bullet is, despite being a Herculean effort, we can fix these negative effects if we work together as a community. This is something that we need to keep in mind as we take on this challenge together, is that an individual person cannot fix all of this alone. We need to put in our effort as one whole community to save our planet, right? Now, removing the usage of fossil fuels is just the start, but it is a very good place to start taking back the things that we have done to our world in the past. This is a Herculean effort because it will take a lot of effort, resources, manpower, money, time, all of that. But we can do it if we all work together for our community. As for the third bullet, we need to use alternative energy sources to ensure a clean and bright future for the coming generations. As I mentioned in the last bullet, fixing this will take us a lot of time. So most likely, our generation or the generation after us will not experience the effects of this. But instead, we are doing it for the coming generations. We are doing it so that our children and the children of our children will have trees, will have green mountains, will have clean oceans to swim in, and most importantly, they will have a world where they can live in peace without fearing things such as global warming, the the thin the thin atmosphere, the building up of greenhouse gases, the melting of polar ice caps, and other horrible effects of using fossil fuels. Now, that is the end of my presentation, and I hope that listening to me today has taught you a lot of things, and I hope this makes you reflect on your actions today and what you can do to help our future.